water-bound aerodynamic missile plummeting through the spray.
The unlimited hydroplanes, the powerhouses of boat racing.
Sunny, clear skies, just a little bit of wind, about 6-7 miles an hour, maybe at the most. Most of the race course has a little bit of a ripple on it. We're putting our rescue boats in position for unlimited hydroplanes race. 2.5 months course here on Mission Bay, and we have the first of our H1 Unlimiteds sitting at the dock waiting for the word that everything is set to go for qualifying. So our ladder will be the Oberto Super Salami, the U1918, and Jimmy Shane will be coming up a little later in the ladder, but Jeff Bernard will be in the cockpit of the Oberto Super Salami. And then we'll have Jamie Nilsen in the J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Corey Peabody will be out third. Fourth will be the U7 Spirit of Detroit presents Boitano Homes. Then we'll have J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking, the U12, and Jimmy Shane in the U6. Jimmy had just won the first Grand Prix heat of the Saturday.
Well, we just talked to Jimmy Shane, and now we are here with Greg. Greg, you were a little bit late for the start, but made up ground quickly on that first lap, and then all of a sudden dropped back quickly. What happened?
Well, we had our main mission was to just start and finish that heat. We really weren't even going to go racing, and then I noticed I was within striking distance, and so I decided to strike. And then I swore we ran 3 laps, and I was ahead of the start-finish line, and I backed up, and so I thought the race was over. All
right, so on the next heat, let me give you a hint, Greg. 3 laps, and I will help you count those down. Maybe I can get onto your radio. We'll do all 3 laps at full speed.
All right, Kay. Well, Greg is chasing that National High Points Championship for the American Powerboat Association Grand Prix class. And he knows what he needs to do in the second Grand Prix heat here on Mission Bay this afternoon. That'll be coming up a little while later. But right now, we're ready to go qualifying with our H1 Unlimiteds. Got to remind everybody over on Ski Beach, I see some of you taking advantage of a little bit of a lull in the action, but we need to have you out of the water. We need to have you off the sand, back up on the grassy area on Ski Beach. So please help us out, keep us on schedule, and keep everybody safe. We need to have you out of the water. Please make your way back up to the grassy area. Same for the folks on Fiesta Island. We need to have you off the sand and back up in the safe area. Thanks a lot for your cooperation. I can see you guys moving away, and we really appreciate it. A little bit of a traffic jam getting the Grand Prix hydros off of their docks with the cranes that are working on both the Unlimiteds and the Grand Prix. And we also have 1-liters here. They've already had 1 heat today. They'll have 1 more a little later on in the afternoon. After we're done with qualifying for our H1 Unlimiteds, they do have a green flag on the course, so we're expecting to see Jeff Bernard any moment come out in this absolutely beautiful Oberto Super Salami with the sun glinting off of this reflective foil. It is quite the sight. Looking down our pit row at our unlimited hydroplanes, the U-11 is coming off the trailer and heading toward the water. Jamie Nilsen will be out on the race course. He'll be the third boat on our ladder. The U-98 Graham Trucking American Dream scheduled to be the second boat on the ladder. J&D's presents Reliable Diamond Tool. That boat is the U-11, Jamie Nilsen's ride, coming to the water. U-1918, Oberto Super Salami. Coming on the race course for Jeff Bernard's 3 laps around the Bill Munsey race course and qualifying now. Had some testing sessions yesterday afternoon, testing session earlier today. Yesterday in testing, Jeff did a 136. Actually, earlier today, 146. And he'll pop the boat up on plane just off the pit area. Second boat out of the Miss Madison racing camp. Jeff is Jimmy Shane's teammate for the weekend. This is the boat that raced as the Miss HomeStreet until the middle of the 2018 season when they debuted the brand new boat that we have here right in back of us, high up on the pit tower on Mission Bay. So Jeff Bernard all the way with the big skid fin rooster tail. And right along the buoy line, coming up the backstretch. Wind is about 8 miles an hour. It's just getting a little ruffle on the water. Help the boats get up, get a little more air under them. For those of you on Ski Beach, you can see Jeff coming by. The wind is not affecting his rooster tail. If it gets a little higher, then that wind will push the rooster tail into the infield. But he's got a good ride going so far on lap number 1. Sun glistening off of that iridescent red and green coloring on the Oberto Super Salami. Here comes the end of lap number 1, first boat on the race course for qualifying here on Mission Bay. (155.376). 155.376. First lap for Jeff Bernard here, qualifying on Mission Bay. And already he is on the backstretch. Doesn't take him long to get through that turn down from the start-finish line, and just got the rooster tail kicked up high, coming up the backstretch. About halfway up the backstretch right now. Nice smooth ride. See that red, the glinting in the sun. Almost looks like he has a red strobe light on, which he does not.
Keep in mind, he did have a 160-mile-an-hour lap time this morning, so we'll have to wait and see what this lap is, but it looked much better than the first lap.
This is going to be a little speedier. (156.347). 156.347. Jeff Bernard and the Oberto Super Salami. Miss Madison Racing Team, 34 wins in 58 plus years, the longest running ownership in unlimited hydroplane history. White flag, or the checkered flag lap for Jeff Bernard now. Nice smooth turn. Boat is just glued to the water. And coming to the end of his third lap. We'll get you a final speed here for lap number 3. (157.499). 157.499. Jeff Bernard in the U1918 Oberto Super Salami. This hull is one of the winningest unlimited hydroplane hulls in history. 24 wins in 61 races. Third all time. Tied with the 1977 Atlas Van Lines, the Blue Blaster, and also the 1987 Miss Budweiser T2, only one behind the current U12 Graham Trucking. Next boat on the ladder is the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Corey Peabody getting strapped into the boat.
The 98 had some motor issues. They actually blew a motor yesterday. Graham Trucking threw their backup motor into there. So
check that. It's the U11 that will be out next. And Corey Peabody will have to wait until Jamie Nilsen comes back from his qualifying run. Got him a little out of order there.
Just want to remind all of our fans that if you want to come into the pits, it is free to come into the pits. We do ask for no smoking, no vaping, no alcohol in the pits, but it is free to come into the pits and check these boats out up close and personal, talk to the drivers and talk to the crew. They would love to answer any questions that you have. So just a reminder, it is free to come into the pits.
U7 Spirit of Detroit presents Boitano Homes. Will be the boat after the 98. So we have the 11, the 98, and the 7 in the order of appearance here for qualifying. H1 Unlimited's on Mission Bay, the Bill Munsey Racecourse, 2.5-mile oval.
This morning, the J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, driven by Jamie Nilsen, ran a 1:59. That's the fastest this boat has ever gone before. Going out again for another qualifying session, I asked Jamie, I said, are you looking for 160? He said, the Rainies are always looking to improve. We always want an extra tick on the board.
Well, they found a lot of speed here, Kay, in the last 24 hours.
They ended yesterday with a 155 and started out this morning with a 159. They finished in third place at Seafair at the first weekend of August, so they are stepping it up every single weekend. A driver change midway through the season from Tom Thompson to Jamie Nilsen is proving to probably be a good step in the right way to improve their J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool record.
Yeah, they're currently 6th in national high point standings, but they're looking to pick up maybe a 5th place, even a 4th place in the national high point standings when all is said and done tomorrow afternoon. Jamie Nilsen on the race course. He is tight to the buoy line through the SeaWorld turn.
Flawlessly goes through that second turn. That looked perfect. I can't wait to hear what his time's going to be.
You know, this is only Jamie's 3rd race in this boat. He raced at Tri-Cities in Columbia River in Washington, Goes to the end of lap number 1, and then Seafair, and then here. So it's only his 3rd race in the boat. Still kind of getting used to what this boat can do, and it's improving every time he goes out. 152.785 first lap, 152.785 for Jamie Nilsen in the J&Ds, presented by Reliable Diamond Tool. Halfway up the backstretch, nice smooth ride. A little bit of air there, walking the sponsons a bit as he comes to the SeaWorld turn. But smooth through the turns, not lifting up. Very nice smooth turn for Jamie Nilsen. Well, we'll check his speed. It did look like he slowed down as he came off the turn. .436. So I guess, Kay, we were wrong. He didn't slow down.
It just kind of looked like it from our angle. Every angle is different along the beach lines and from up here onto the start, or up on here on the tower with you and I. But I want to say our spectators that are down there on the beach have the best view. But I do ask our spectators, while the boats are on the water, please step away from the water, stand up onto the grass. This is for your safety and the safety of you around you as Jamie comes through the apex of turn 2 with another great turn hugging the buoys.
Nice smooth ride. End of lap number 3. Jamie Nilsen on the clock and in the show. Laps at above 152 miles an hour, and we'll see what this one is.
Keep in mind, fan, that's an average speed around this course. So these boats are hitting close to 200 miles per hour as they are at the end of each straightaway. 200 miles per hour hitting those turns at about 3 Gs is roughing it pretty hard. These drivers do go through a lot of safety issues or safety courses to make sure that they are safe in the boats at 200 miles an hour.
154.421. That was Jamie's 3rd lap, 154.421. He'll bring the boat way to the outside now. As he brings it back to the pit area, slows it down. The wakes seem to dissipate here on Mission Bay very quickly. So, we've got beach on both sides, so there's a lot of energy when the wakes from the boats hit the beach. It dissipates that energy pretty quickly. Sure, we got a second.
Yeah, because you were just talking about how the beach is. So I thought you could kind of go into. I thought it was a cool story.
Yeah, it is an interesting story, Kay Brewer. This was really a swamp. And Bill Muncie said this is a great place to race hydroplanes. Bill had moved down here to San Diego, and he said we need to do a civic project and turn this into a place where we could race hydroplanes, where we could do some sailing, some rowing. Some of the intercollegiate rowing championships held here right in front of us at Ski Beach over the years. And so they dredged and brought a bunch of the land up above high water, and that is what made our race course. And the other side of Mission Bay, where some of the hotels are located, you see them sailing and all kinds of water activities.
And right outside, right below our tower, right outside the H1 pitch, is a tribute to Bill Muncie. It is that white figure that's out there. Can you tell me exactly what that stands for, Mark?
I don't know that.
You don't know? Well, we'll just have to go down there. I know
You
that
stumped the announcer.
I did. I finally stumped Mark Allen, and he knows everything about everything.
Well, here's one other thing. Well, do you know?
I do not, but if I look at it, it almost looks like a wave, like part of a wave.
Or a rooster tail. We have been notified by the officials that the Oberto Super Salami has cleared tech, and that is important because these boats have a couple of restrictions in terms of engine output and fuel flow, and every boat has a black box. After their run, that black box goes to the tech truck. The data has to be read out, and if they violated either of those restrictions, that speed goes away. We now know that Jeff Bernard's times are good times, not going to go away. He cleared the tech truck, and here comes Corey Peabody.
Yes, and you were saying that the black box does go to the tech truck. That is after every single heat, correct?
Usually they go every time they go out because they do want to get the data so that they can look at the data even if it's just testing. They'll go take the black box, read the data, and put it back in the boat for the next time out so they can take some looks at the data and tweak what they think they need to tweak.
Exactly, and that includes propeller changes, gearbox changes, and ratios on the gearbox. There's lots of different aspects into these hydroplanes that they can change and adjust after each heat.
Corey Peabody on the race course in the Graham Trucking American Dream. Greg Hopp says this is the fastest boat that Fred Leland ever built, and Fred built a lot of them, and he built a lot of turbines in his time. We saw this boat last year on the Bill Munsey race course, racing as the Miss Rock, and Aaron Salmon was driving it. Boat changed hands. Rob Graham picked it up. Really had intended only to race it in the Washington State races, but then said, hey, let's take it all around the circuit. So they started the season in Guntersville, Alabama, went to the Gold Cup in Madison, raced in Tri-Cities on River in Central Washington, and the week after that, and here we are, the season finale, San Diego's Mission Bay. So when Rob Graham picked up this boat, he wanted to use the U number of the boat that he originally sponsored as Graham Trucking back in 1998. It's not the U number, it's actually dedicated to the year that Rob Graham started sponsoring unlimited hydroplanes. (133.360). 133.360 for Corey Peabody on his first lap here on Mission Bay. Coming up the back stretch, right in the middle of the race course and about lane number 3. Now he's moved over to the left just a little bit, moved over to the right. And now he comes back a little bit to the left, so he's down on power, and I'm not sure he's going to complete another lap. No, he's not. He's coming off. So he got one lap in at over 133 miles an hour. He puts him in the show.
Each boat, in order to collect points for qualifying, must do at least 130 miles per hour. Like I said, they blew a motor up yesterday, put a backup motor in the boat. So I'm going to go down and find Corey or Tom Anderson and see why we only did one lap and came back in.
So Corey is back at his dock, pops the hatch. They will put that boat back on the trailer and see what it is that Corey was a little uncomfortable with in terms of the engine or the gearbox or something that he decided we're going to bring it back in. Our next boat on the ladder will be the U7. Spirit of Detroit presents Boitano Homes, owned by Dave Bartish. The boat is headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, driven by Bert Henderson. Bert from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. And the lid goes down on the U7.
And Mark, I'm not sure if you can see from up there on the tower, but there's extra checks on that lid because they've been having issues with it trying to pop open. They had to hold the lid as they were trying to drive, but Bert Henderson seems to think, he gave me a thumbs up, thinks that everything is running good as he's going to leave the dock and head out onto the Mission Bay course.
Not easy to drive with one hand and hold the lid down with your other hand. The team's backup driver, and for next year, will be a primary driver of the team's second boat, Patrick Howarth, took the boat out. He also had that problem with the hatch coming up. So hopefully they have fixed that. We'll keep an eye on that. Bert pops the boat up with a minimum of salt spray into the turbine engine.
Mark, I was able to grab Corey, and Corey, can you tell us, you only did one lap at qualifying at 130 miles an hour. How come you came in so early?
Well, we're watching the temperatures rise on the EGTs, and so it's more important to save the equipment for heat racing versus damage something out there qualifying. You know, once we got that 130, we know we're okay, we're in, that's the big deal, and we'll save the equipment.
Do you know maybe why you might have been running hot? Is there something certain that you guys will go straight for to look for a gremlin?
We're going to look, you know, we'll give everything we got. We had the issues yesterday. That's what brought it. That's why we came in yesterday on the towboat, you know, so we don't want to do anything like that. So today is all about making sure we're in the show, watch our EGTs, and, you know, protect the equipment. It's a costly, very costly if something happens. So I just got to watch my gauges, and we'll just go from there.
So this is your first time ever racing out here on this course, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been here 6 or 7 times as a crew, guys, but this is my first time on this race course.
Well, and I've talked about it a few times when I've been doing the announcing. If you look out on the water, there's 18 million buoys out there. How do you, as a new driver, delineate between the other courses versus the course that you need to run?
I watch for our big, giant entrance and exit buoys. You know, that's where I'm headed. I come out of the turn, I look all the way down the race course for that big, giant yellow triangle buoy, and I hone in on that, and then I know where I'm going. So that's how I do it.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you out on the water. We are going to head back up to you, Mark, on the tower to tell us some speeds that we might be having for Brett Henderson.
Well, Bert has 134.480 miles an hour in the books for lap number 1. And just that quick, he is off the turn. Bert has been running out in about lane number 4, almost lane number 5, as he comes off of that upper turn. But then he angles into the buoy row, brings the boat up the backstretch, got his foot in it. Boat looking pretty good. Good boat ride. In a little air and a little bounce on that right sponson as he comes to the SeaWorld turn. And off the SeaWorld turn, we'll time one of these runs through the turn, because that can be important when they're racing or when they're getting set to start. How fast do they get through that turn? And then down the front straightaway to the starting line. End of lap number 2 for Bert Henderson. This boat, of course, the former Miss Budweiser Turbine 5. 141.262. A 141.262 for Bert Henderson on lap number 2. This is a boat, as the Miss Budweiser, or out of the Ted Porter racing team as well, has been driven by a lot of different people. Jeff Bernard, Mark Evans, Dave Vilwalk, Mike Allen, J. Michael Kelly has driven this boat, Cal Phipps, Jesse Robertson. A lot of folks have been in the cockpit of the U-7, where Bert Henderson now sits, halfway through the SeaWorld turn at the apex, and now off the turn and heading down the front straightaway. This boat has been on the Bill Munsey race course 15 previous San Diego races. Best finish was first in 98, 99, and 2000 as the Miss Budweiser with Dave Vilwalk driving. That lap was 140.029. So 140.029 for Bert Henderson, lap number 3. We can advise that the U11 J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool has passed the tech check also. So our first couple of boats out for qualifying have passed their tech check, and so those speeds will stand. We have enough time in our testing session for the teams to run through the ladder a second time if they wish.
What's the deal here? Why is the 12 not running?
He's coming off the trailer. Right? He's coming off the trailer.
I know, but he's got to get the water.
So the U98 Corey Peabody's ride, the Graham Trucking American Dream, has cleared the tech truck also. So our first three boats, the 1918, the 11, and the 98, are clear of tech check, so their speeds will stand. Race fans, make sure you stay around tonight for a spectacular night water show here on East Vacation Island. The nighttime spectacular features daring aerial performances in advanced LED suits that mesmerize audiences as they bounce and fly in and over the waters. This spectacular show starts at 8:30 in front of Ski Beach.
Mark, I was able to grab Henderson here, and you did a 146 yesterday, but this morning for qualifying, you only got a 140. What change did you make from yesterday to today?
Well, we were trying a different propeller. We're just trying to throw as much of this at this thing to make it quicker. Now it's qualifying. We want to be ready and make sure that we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed for the eliminations and whatnot. So we'll be there.
Well, and you tried a different prop yesterday versus today. You're using your qualifying to try different props because, unfortunately, you can't just kind of take these boats out anywhere and go testing. So you have to use your time while you can. You did use valuable time yesterday for testing and valuable time for today for qualifying, and found out that you're going to go back to plan A, or maybe if there's another time to test later, would you try a third prop?
Yeah, we're going to throw everything we can at this thing. We want to have our best for qualifying, especially for the final. So, that's what we've been doing all year. We start out a little light, and then we bring our A game for the final.
All right. Well, good luck to you later on this afternoon, and we will be seeing Bert Henderson of the Boitano Homes out on the water later on for more qualifying. But right now, we're going to take our eyes back to the water as J. Michael Kelly from the Graham Trucking in the 12 boat makes his way out onto Mission Bay.
Very pretty red, dominant, but there's black, and if you get right up close to it, there's a bunch of silver on this boat as well. Rob Graham's Graham Trucking U12. 12 number coming from the combination of the 5 and 7 that these boats have had over the last few years, and especially when they were racing for Ted Porter, they had the 5 and the 7. So J. Michael Kelly with a pretty good run earlier this morning, and actually yesterday at 147, but 157 in testing this morning. Great water conditions, not much wind, maybe about 5 miles an hour. J. Michael Kelly, the only driver, the Graham Trucking, the only boat that has a chance to catch Jimmy Shane in the Miss HomeStreet for the national championship, mathematically still in the running. And we will find out tomorrow, by the end of the day, certainly by the end of the day, if not before, whether he's going to be able to take that national championship or whether Jimmy Shane will become our new 2019 H1 national champion and take that U1 designation in 2020. Lots of air under the boat. It's the way J. Michael Kelly likes to fly it. Brought the left sponson up just a little bit as he entered the SeaWorld turn. J. Michael, one of the best at flying these boats over the water. Not letting them get away from him. There's the end of lap number 1. We'll bring you a time. 156.220. 156.220 for the U12 Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly.
So it looks like we may have lost J. Michael Kelly in turn 1 with some technical issues, but we will hopefully be seeing him out there. Earlier this morning, he ran a 157. On that lap, he ran a 156. So I'm wondering if he might have shut it down slower speeds. So we're going to have to wait and see what happened to J. Michael Kelly.
I don't know. He is requesting a tow, or they will be towing him back to the pit area. So that leaves one more boat on our roster, the first pass through the ladder, and that will be the Miss HomeStreet, the U6, out of Madison, Indiana.
While we've got this break in the action, this is when I would encourage you to grab your phones and go to your Apple Store and download the H1 app. At that point, you can find out point standings, previous races, and points times for this weekend. Once again, go to your app store and look for the H1 app, or you can go onto your Facebook. They do have some great footage on the H1 Facebook page. Make sure you like them to see the previous season. Right now, your leader will be heading out. Your points leader right now is Jimmy Shane in the HomeStreet boat. He'll be heading out onto the water shortly.
So, race fans, we have heard from the Tech Truck, and the U7 Spirit of Detroit presents Boitano Homes has also passed the Tech Truck. So far, everybody who's been out and has gone through Tech has passed it, and J. Michael Kelly still out on the race course. They're going to be towing him outside the race course in order to be able to get the Miss HomeStreet out for qualifying run for Jimmy Shane. Reliable Diamond Tool, Inc., and it's AKA Ready To, offers consulting, instruction, and field training in the proper use and care of diamond tooling, including the proper use and maintenance of sawing, drilling, grinding, and polishing equipment. J. Michael Kelly's boat, the U12 Graham Trucking, being towed right now across the race course from the infield over to the outer side of the race course, the out of bounds area. And when they have accomplished that and they've gotten him safely out of harm's way, the officials will reopen the race course and we will send out Jimmy Shane in the Miss HomeStreet for his qualifying run. J. Michael Kelly and the Graham Trucking now outside the race course by about 30 feet. So they will tow him up toward the pit area. And when the officials think it is safe to do so, they will reopen the course and they'll send Jimmy Shane out to run 3 qualifying laps here on Mission Bay. We already know that there are a couple of boats that want to go back out for a second run through the ladder, and that would be the U11 J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, and the U7 Spirit of Detroit presenting Boitano Homes. So those 2 boats at least will want to run in our second pass through the ladder. Jimmy Shane coming out of the pits. He's currently our national high points leader. He is not the defending national high points leader. The defending national champion, Jones Racing, Andrew Tate, the driver, is not here this weekend to defend their championship. They didn't run in the first race back in June at Guntersville, Alabama either. And so we will be crowning a brand new national champion. And right now in the driver's seat in the boat and in the driver's seat in the national championship high points chase is Jimmy Shane and the Miss HomeStreet. Jimmy with a 1:55 fastest testing lap yesterday. Takes the green flag to start on lap number 1 here. Team has won 2 of the 4 races on the H1 Unlimited Series so far this year. They were at first place at Guntersville, Alabama in June. They won the Gold Cup in Madison, Indiana on the 4th of July weekend. Finished 3rd in the Tri-Cities on the Columbia River, the Columbia Cup, at the end of July, and 5th in Seattle at the HomeStreet Bank Cup. And that was the first week of August. And now here we are on Mission Bay, and here's Jimmy Shane in the Miss HomeStreet. And I don't think he's going to waste any time laying down a high 150s lap, maybe sniffing at 160. We'll see what he does here at the end of lap number 1. So far, the first laps have not necessarily been the fastest because they're just coming on the race course and getting set, even though they can put their foot down immediately. 155.588. A 155.588. Jimmy Shane, lap number 1. Brings the boat off of the north turn, about lane number 2. Nice, strong run, smooth run for Jimmy Shane. Skid fin digs in, that big wall of water. And off the turn. Down the front straightaway in front of all of you folks over there on Fiesta Island. Looking for maybe a little more speed this time around. 158.191, bumped it up about 3 miles an hour, 158.191. So that is our fastest lap in qualifying so far. Jimmy Shane looking to be the fastest qualifier, pick up 100 points. I think he'd also like to lay down a 160-mile-an-hour lap, if you ask me. No one has. Lap number 3, about half the foot straightaway to go. And he will come down and finish lap number 3. $158.623 for the U6 Miss HomeStreet. 158.623. That'll be his fastest lap. So Jimmy Shane completes his 3 laps, and he will bring the boat back. We'll see now. Black Box has to go through tech check. Right now, he is the fastest qualifier. And if he passes tech check, that will stick. Still have another opportunity to run through the ladder if anybody else wants to go out, see if they can improve their speed. 100 points for the fastest qualifier, 80 for the second fastest, 70 for third, and so on down the line until you get to 30 points, and then everybody below that stays at 30 points for qualifying. Jimmy Shane glides back to his dock here right below us on the pit tower. Hey, Jimmy. Give a big wave. For those of you watching on the H1 live stream, our position is at the entrance to the SeaWorld turn. That's turn 2. And they come right by us as they go through turn 2. We're up about 30 feet. Gorgeous day here on Mission Bay. It's about 82 right now. Not supposed to get much warmer. We've got a little bit of a breeze, about 6 miles an hour. It's from the west-northwest. So pretty ideal conditions here on Mission Bay. Coming up after our qualifying session is over for H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes, 1 liters will be out for their final. And then we will have our H1 heat number 1. We'll go boat racing H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes have not had a heat yet. They'll be racing heat number 1. We'll have our second heat of Grand Prix racing, and then our H1 Unlimited heat number 2, and that'll finish us off for a Saturday. But boy, tomorrow our schedule is absolutely jam-packed. U11 J&D is presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, comes off the trailer, and they will head out for a second round of qualifying speeds with Jamie Nilsen. Now, yesterday in testing, 159 mile an hour lap, so they had a pretty good day. They were at 148 or so and made some changes to the boat and gained about 10 miles an hour. So this boat, with a driver that's only had 2 races in it under his belt, Jamie Nilsen replaced Tom Thompson after the Eastern swing, so his first ride was at the end of July in the U11 on the Columbia River in Tri-Cities, Washington, at the Columbia Cup. Second race for him was the following weekend up in Seattle, and here we are on Mission Bay. So Jamie's still getting used to the boat, but boy, they found a fair amount of speed, and he may be looking to up that speed just a little bit.
Well, I did just grab Jimmy Shane. Jimmy, you just got out of a Grand Prix with a first place finish, and now you just jumped out of the HomeStreet H1, and now you are top finisher so far for qualifying, just barely beating out the 1918 Oberto Super Salami by 1 mile an hour. Are you going to make any changes and try and make one more run at this qualifying session?
We'll look at the data. I think depends on if a couple of these other boats go out there and perform. There's a couple boats sitting on shoreline right now that could definitely go out and beat that 158. So we'll see. Conditions must have changed a lot because all the speeds got knocked down from this morning. It must have been an absolute perfect morning for the test speeds. So we're happy with the 158. We thought that we could go out there and at least push 160 laps. So we'll see what the next couple minutes hold for these other boats, and if we can stay on top, we're going to keep the equipment safe and keep it on the trailer.
Well, and you're saying keep it safe, but you also have the condition which we only run in once a year, which is the saltwater conditions. So have you seen any effect thus far this weekend that the salt has affected the boat at all?
Salt always affects these boats big time. So that's probably our biggest challenge is once we get to racing, you really have to keep your equipment safe. You cannot be driving and dodging through rooster tails because the salt is our enemy this weekend.
Well, you guys are looking great so far. Like I said, you were top on the podium with a 158. Second will be Jeff Bernard in the 1918 of the Super Salami. But looks like we are going to have Jamie Nilsen in the J&D presented by Reliable Diamond Tool heading out onto the water here shortly. Mark?
Kay, if you have a chance to talk to J. Michael Kelly when he comes in, he'll be on the other side of he'll be on the other dock, I guess. So Jimmy Shane's ride, the Miss HomeStreet, goes through tech check, and it is clean. So the only boat we're waiting for would be the U12 Graham truck, and they just got back to the dock. They will take the box over to the tech truck for the one lap that they did run. Meanwhile, Jamie Nilsen on the course in the J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, the U11 Unlimited Racing Group on the race course right now, taking a second run through the ladder. One of the things that fans don't really get to hear is when this skid fin rooster tail falls, it's like a waterfall. And if the boat goes away, the boat goes past you, the sound of the motor, the sound of the prop and the water goes away, but that waterfall sound stays for 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, depending on how close you are to it. It is a really amazing piece of work. The folks who are rescue crews who are inside the race course, every lap in the turns, they get that waterfall sound as the boat goes by. Several tons of water in the air. 8 tons of water in the air. So it takes a little bit of time for that waterfall to come back to earth. End of lap number 1 for Jamie Nilsen. .804 for Jamie Nilsen, 153.804. Had a lap at 154.421 earlier in the first round of qualifying. So we're in the second pass through our ladder. That lap wasn't quite fast enough to increase his speed. See what he needs in order to move up. He is 4th fastest right now, and he would need a couple miles an hour and some change to move up to 3rd to pass J. Michael Kelly.
The 11, 156,
156.772. 156.772. So if that speed holds, Jamie Nilsen jumps up above J. Michael Kelly in the Graham trucking by about half a mile an hour. That was lap number 2. He's got half a lap to go here. Now consistently running this boat in the upper 150s, where in the past it had been in the upper 140s. And there's the end of Jamie's 3rd lap here and our second pass through the ladder. 157.585. 157.585. If that holds, that makes him the second fastest qualifier, because Jeff Bernard was at 157.499. So that would make him the second fastest qualifier if that speed holds through tech inspection. Unlimited Racing Group's got to be really happy with how this boat is performing, how their driver is performing.
I didn't do well in school in decimals. Or any other kind.
Again, mentioning tech inspection, there are a couple of restricted parameters that these boats have to fulfill. If they exceed those, either speed output of the turbine engine or fuel flow, then that speed on that lap gets wiped out. So that's why each boat goes through the tech inspection process with the black data box, which is actually orange, after each run. So they will take the orange black box over to the tech truck after Jamie Nilsen gets the boat in. Crew will do that very quickly. It's the first thing they do even before the boat gets onto the trailer. And they will see if that lap sticks.
Mark, I was able to grab Jamie Nielsen off the boat. You have made some improvements, made some adjustments. Can you tell us what you did for adjustments? Because on the last qualifying, you were at 154. Now you're at 157.
Yeah. I mean, this J&D's and Reliable Diamond Tool team, they've been working all day. Been working all day and changing stuff every run. So this entire weekend, we haven't run the same setup twice. So we're getting better. I think we might have missed on that first run, took a step back, but we're right back where we want to be after that run. So we're excited, and we're looking forward to Heat 1.
Well, I'm not sure if you know this, but now you're running second on the pole for top qualifier.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So that's really exciting. A lot of fast boats here, and anytime you can qualify in the top half of the ladder, it means you're doing something right. So this team's been working hard, and it's really cool to see all their hard work pay off and pay it back.
Well, you do a great job of paying it back with your great driving for the J&Ds presented by Reliable Diamond Tools and the Rainey family. Jamie Nilsen, welcome to H1. This is only your second race, and you're doing amazing.
Looking to see if anybody else wants to use their slot on the second run through our ladder. We see some slings swinging around, but they're not attached to anybody at this point. Coming up next on our schedule is our 1 liter final. 1 liter final heat for a Saturday afternoon. This will be after our qualifying session ends. We have 2 H1 Unlimited heats this afternoon and another Grand Prix heat. So we got a lot of racing to go yet. We're not done.
And I do remind all of our fans, it is free to come into the pits. That's part of your admission. So I encourage you to come into the pits and see these boats. They are huge, 30 feet long, 15 feet wide, 3,000 horsepower.
All right, unofficially, here are the standings for our Fast Saturday qualifying. Jimmy Shane and the U6, the Miss HomeStreet, 158.623. Second fastest would be the U11. We just saw Jamie Nilsen out on the race course at 157.585. They still need to go through tech check, however. The U19-18 at 157.599 for Jeff Bernard. 499, sorry, 157.499. Then J. Michael Kelly in the U12, 156.220, and they are still pending tech check because they did go down. Nope, they passed tech check. Okay. Then the U7, Spirit of Detroit presents Boitano Homes, Bert Henderson at 141.262, and the U98, Graham Trucking American Dream, 133.360. So for K Brewer, this is Mark Allen. I atop the pits. We will be back with H1 Racing on the H1 live stream. And that should be about 3 o'clock, but we will keep everybody apprised of what time that's going to be. H1 Heat 1 is scheduled for 3 o'clock Pacific time. H1 Heat 2 will be at 4:15. That's the schedule right now, Pacific time again, so we'll see you then.